Hello, welcome to the Rabell Realty podcast. June 6th. Today is an exciting day. We're going to talk about insurance again.
Yay!
We've got our good friend, Carrie Ward of Darshackow. She'll come on a little later. So we do want you to go ahead and write in some questions that you have. Really, we're going to talk about the legislative insurance reform that was about 2 weeks ago, and talk about how that's going to help us as homeowners, as realtors, selling your home, buying your home, and just owning your home. So lots of great stuff. And she also can answer some questions about what to do during the hurricane season, which is now upon us, and we'll go over that a little bit too.
So post your questions below.
Yes, we would love that.
In advance.
She's going to be on Zoom, so we won't be able to see your questions, so ahead of time will be better for us. And we'll look at it on our computers and be able to ask or answer your questions. But yeah, it's Kristen Rabell.
Rebecca Johnson.
And we're here today, and we've got our Monday Market Moment coming up.
All right, let's take a look at what's happening in North Central Florida. This week, we're going to do April versus May. And even though Kristen and I have strong feelings that April is a superior month to May, we're going to look at what real estate means in regards to that. So we will start in St. Augustine, and it looks like in April, they had 49 closings versus May, 45.
Right, and we're just going over the closings, but I'm going to tell you, I was looking at St. Augustine today, and there's a ton more on the market than there were before. So that's kind of interesting to see that we're finally getting more active listings, at least there.
So I wonder if there's more active listings or just fewer buyers at the moment. But either way, it'll be interesting to see what it does for values in the area, if it forces them to kind of steady and quit inching up as quickly, or if it forces them down a little bit. But that's something we'll be watching for you all in all the markets that we serve. So that'll give you April up in St. Augustine in May. Gainesville, this looks a little more normal, I would say, to me, in terms of May being a little bigger than April, which we would expect June to be bigger than May. So we'll see how that turns out. But in April, you had 297 closed properties, and in May, you had 319. And these will be single-family residential and condos. We're not looking at land. We're not looking at commercial or anything like that. So kind of encouraging. You're seeing the closing numbers move upwards, which we would expect in sales season. So moving down to Ocala and Marion County, you have 609 for the month of April, 658 for the month of May. Their season is, I would say, a little different than ours, but this is that time of year when people are buying and closing on more. And some of this might be new construction that's finishing up and moving along. So strong numbers down in Ocala. And then down in Hillsborough, Tampa Bay, or the area that we're concentrated in, we have 1,081 for the month of April and 1,066 for the month of May. Just a small difference there. Nothing really too alarming. Again, it's up in the thousands, which is pretty common for those months of the year. A little bit on the lower side compared to about a year or two ago, but still moving in the right direction. So that's good news, and that's what's happening in our area. We're definitely looking for listings in all markets. So if you know somebody that might be thinking about selling, or you yourself are thinking about selling, please pick up the phone and give us a call.
Great. I mean, some of them were higher, some lower, but numbers are still stronger than they were before. So we'll keep moving forward. All right. So we had a fun event this last week, and it was really with our K&R Property Management, but Rabell was there, and this is Kara Bolton. She's a builder in town. If you don't know her, she built a 3-story building, and it consists of her office space.
Kara Bolton Homes.
Right, Kara Bolton Homes. And then, a little bit more. It's called Empowered.
Yes, Empowered is her bar studio. So they do, it's very similar to some of the other bar style workouts that have been in the area, but a little different. Definitely a female oriented crowd. Lots of women get in there, work out together, and celebrate each other. And then the second and third story are actually apartments, and they're individual room leases. And she's looking for women who are young professionals or students that they don't need a whole house yet, but they want that all-inclusive vibe with other women. So if you know anybody, let us know. Otherwise, they will be up on our website this week, and there's some beautiful photos that you can check out.
Yeah, gorgeous location, gorgeous space. So hopefully you'll be able to share it with your female empowered friends who need a place to stay. So yes. All right. Well, let's get into our next topic because Carrie's going to come on a little later, and we want to talk about the newest home buying tips. Now, we always have tips, right, for general home buying tips, but then there are the ones that are more relevant for now.
Right. So, and the article was kind of I would almost say spoofy, because it was like 3 things that you used to do that you would never do now. And one of them was you would never waive your inspections. So now they're talking about tips that used to be standard that now are kind of out the window because of the market we've been in.
Right.
And then we'll see where it goes.
I mean, I think the market we've talked about this the past 2 weeks. The market has already kind of changed. In Gainesville, even Ocala and Tampa. Tampa is a little still very, very competitive, but definitely Gainesville, where we are mainly located, there has been quite a bit of a change. And we've talked to a lot of realtors, but we would never suggest giving up the inspection or waiving your inspection, but we've seen it a lot in the past 2 years, a year and a half more like. So, but we're seeing it a little less. We would suggest to never do that, but that was sometimes a way to win the property, especially some of the more, competitive markets like Tampa. You're still seeing them waive their inspection, and I think that's quite scary, but that was the new normal for a little bit. We'll see how that changes. I think the better thing to do is maybe lower it and go ahead and have your agent or yourself as a buyer schedule it. And then if you have to give it up to another realtor or another buyer, if you don't get that offer, at least you've already pre-scheduled it so you can shorten it.
Yeah, I'll say as a listing agent, I prefer to see 7 to 10 days. Right. I actually don't like it when I get offers with no inspection period. It makes me very nervous. And, often I don't even have the buyer. So. And
during that time period, we were seeing 0 days, but I had 1 day recently, and of course they needed to extend it, and I knew it, and I talked to the seller and said, let's just go ahead and extend it because 1 day is not enough.
Right.
You just can't get anything done unless you are a flipper buying it yourself with your realtor and you've already seen the house, you've already done all of your due diligence. Try not to do that. But I think that's going to go by the wayside for now. What were some of the other ones?
So it was, like I said, it was kind of a spoofy article talking about things that we would never suggest for home buying tips that are now kind of the new norm or have been. But like I said, the last 2 weeks, we're already starting to see a little bit of a shift or change in some of that. One of them was
large down payment.
Large down payments or agreeing to pay the difference of the appraisal.
Yes.
And talking
we can go over
about
the large down payment first if you want. Larger the down payment, the stronger the buyer looks and appears.
It's a perception.
Correct. A perception, right. And so it may look better to that seller who's looking at multiple offers. And if you have, a conventional buyer only putting 5% down without a story behind that, then they don't know that they could afford more. And same with that FHA buyer. That's why FHA buyers were kind of put on the wayside for a while, but oftentimes they're just getting an FHA loan because that's the best rate for them. But they may have more money to put down. And what we were noticing by the end of this was that a lot of people were only doing 5%, but could afford 20%. But if you put your best foot forward and say you're putting 20 or 30 or 40% down, it does look a lot better. It looks like you can cover that difference, which she'll go over in a moment. What started to happen, they appear to be that
it was making it really difficult on people who are VA.
Yes.
And almost unfair.
Right. Well, I think more the FHA. VA is 0% down, but they often can pay for that. They can often get a 20% down, conventional loan.
Many
they just don't go that route.
But when you're in a multiple offer situation, I would have people telling me, and I got a 35-year-old house to close VA. It literally was probably one of the toughest careers or one of the toughest deals of my career. It felt like the money pit. Every time we needed something else would go wrong in this house. We did get it closed. I am thankful for that. I was blowing the driveway off the day before closing,
You know what I missed during this whole period? The art of negotiation.
Yeah, it's not really fun.
It was really
right now.
lost. I mean, it's gotten a little better, but it was really lost on us realtors and the buyers and sellers. And you really couldn't, because everybody was just bidding the highest bid. And, if there was an appraisal, they would do an appraisal contingency, but it would be, they would waive the appraisal contingency and say if it didn't appraise, then they would pay the difference. And so it's really more of an auction atmosphere.
Yeah, I was thinking
like
wasn't Gold
quite
Rush or Wild Rush.
So again, as we see the market, and that's why the rates were raised in order to calm the market down. So you weren't selling houses for 50, 100,000 over list price. They weren't, rising so fast that it's becoming, unaffordable for most. So it has kind of cooled it down and has brought back that art of negotiation. We're seeing houses lower in price. We're seeing houses, to get the offer. We're also seeing houses, and I think this is really like 400 and above more so in this area at least. And you're seeing, buyers come in way less than list price, so there are negotiations. So it's a little nicer to be back in that mode.
I'm looking forward to getting back to the day where we're negotiating. Now, granted,
the sellers made some great money. They were able to, take the highest of, 25 offers and, being 50 to 100,000 higher. That's great. But that, we had to get away from that so that we could, have some other buyers purchase houses like the FHA and VA. All right. Well, the article was short. We can talk about that more. Let's go into hurricane season. That started June 1st and it ends November 30th. And as we all probably know, last week there was already a disturbance that kind of affected getting your insurance. We can talk about that a little bit with Carrie if we have time. But if you are in the process of purchasing a house during this season, the best thing you can do is not only get that appraisal ordered by your lender up front, get that survey ordered up front if you don't already have one. And if you're a cash buyer or a loan buyer, then you need to go ahead and get that insurance started and bound. They call it, bind your insurance early so that you're not affected for closing if a disturbance or a hurricane or tropical storm gets within the range of Florida. And again, we can go over that a little bit more. Do we have any questions that are going to come up?
I don't see any questions.
All right.
So far.
Sometimes people click on a little later. There is a holiday right now. It's the tax holiday for disaster preparedness. If you want to bring up that slide.
Yeah, we have some questions actually.
Oh, we do. Okay, well, we're not seeing them.
Yeah, Susan is asking what is a no to have in your house to keep your rates low? What is the one thing you should never have
in your house?
Yes,
I think that's an insurance question for Carrie. So I don't
know. Read that question again.
Here we go. So, what is a no to have in your house to keep your rates low? And what is the one thing you should never have?
You should never have a rotting house.
Yeah.
We're not 100% sure about this question. Is it referring to insurance?
I think because she's saying like a low rate, or it sounds like she's asking for a lower rate. What's one thing you should never have in your house?
And I'm assuming a low rate for insurance, which no rates are low right now.
I would say don't have candles in your house.
It is an insurance question for Carrie Ward. So if Susan will text me that question, I do have another question for Jackie also. Here we go. I have all the questions here. Let's go ahead and take a break and we'll bring on, but just so you remember, June 10th ends that the sales tax holiday for all of these items for disaster preparedness. We have this on site. We'll put it in on our podcast as well so you can see, because on the screen it's really hard to see. But if you want to know what you can get free tax for, here they are. We'll share it. Let's go on our break and we'll bring back Gary later. Oakmont is Gainesville's newest luxury development, bringing sophisticated resort-style living to Alachua County, balanced with nature on 550 acres, serving as a sanctuary featuring playground areas, walking paths, and towering live oak trees throughout the landscape. Oakmont offers residents a sense of unspoiled natural beauty. For those who treasure green space and cherish an active lifestyle in the great outdoors, Oakmont offers residents a perfect combination of amenities such as multiple tennis courts, Olympic-sized pool, amphitheater, multi-purpose activity field, and a community center with ample space for hosting large corporate events.
Oakmont features a grand entrance which creates an inviting sense of arrival. New homes are offered by several of the area's top builders and start in the mid-300,000s. Please visit buysellerbell.com to search for your new home in Oakmont.
All right, we're back, and we have a lot of people excited with a lot of questions for Carrie, so let's bring her on. Carrie's our girl. Look at you. Hello, Carrie.
Hey.
Thanks for coming on. Looks like people are excited you're on here, and we are too. We love your information. I know you're going to go over this legislation that wasn't necessarily passed, right? But was at least House passed it, Senate passed it. It's in the passing process, right? So it's not finalized, but we'll talk about that. But we got some great questions here, so let's go over them really quick. Insurance questions. So, do you know how to answer Susan's? What's a no-no to have in your house to keep your rates low, and what is the one thing you should never have? Do you kind of understand that?
I do. So I can see the questions because I'm watching on my phone too.
Yes,
so
I know you can.
Susan's question, Holly's question kind of tie in together.
Okay. Her question is, how can I keep my current insurance rate from going up and me losing my mind in frustration?
Right. So there's not a whole lot you can do to homeowners insurance like you can auto insurance, where you can manipulate coverage and deductibles and get all kinds of discounts on car insurance. The things that drive the insurance premium are going to be year built, your credit score plays a lot to do with your premium with most insurance companies.
Yep.
And the bad things to have would be an old roof, one built prior to or put on before 2002, cloth wiring, polybutylene plumbing. So the newer the roof, the newer your house, the better your credit score, that will all keep your premium down.
Now, you mentioned claims also. If you've had a prior claim as a buyer or as an owner, right, and then that house has a prior claim, that's now affecting us more than ever before as well.
It is. And unfortunately, that is one of the things that they did not talk about in the special session, and I wish they had. Whenever we all sent that link out to email your senators your issues and problems, that was mine.
Okay.
It's really hard, I think, for people to get insurance on the new house they're buying when they had a claim on a house from Texas. I don't think that's fair.
Agreed.
That's a problem.
So if there's anything that you can afford when something happens to your house, just go ahead and pay it up front so you don't add this claim to your sort of, your record. I know you can't say what to say no to, what to pay. You're not allowed to say that, but I'm just putting that out there as a homeowner. If you can afford something, don't make a claim. Just pay it.
It's not a good time to have a claim. Yes. And we all have our threshold, whatever that number is that you feel like you can absorb out of your budget. But having a claim is not good right now.
And we're also, as listing agents, suggesting, I know I am, suggesting go ahead, have that seller get a 4-point. And so that they can know what an insurance agent will probably not insure. They can either send that to their current insurance company, but I would say no, send it to their realtor to give to another insurance agent to give them advice. That's why it's great when your insurance agent knows certain people like Carrie or any other insurance agent in town and has a great relationship with them. Send it over. Make sure what is going to affect the next buyer getting insurance so that you can already take care of that. Good idea.
And pretty much on that 4-point, anything that is unsatisfactory, it's got to be changed.
Whether you go to the insurance agent or not to get advice, just if it's unsatisfactory, go ahead and change it. Okay. I mean, good advice right there. Jackie has another question here. And actually this kind of goes in line with, there's been about 4 companies this year, maybe 5 that have gone insolvent, that are in receivership, meaning they are not in Florida any longer at all.
Right.
Okay. But this one is State Farm. So State Farm is still here, but it's not insuring houses that are 20 years or older.
Yeah. State Farm is at 20 years and newer. Nationwide is 2002 and newer with a 10-year-old roof. Florida Farm Bureau stopped writing.
Yep.
Allstate just went to 2006 and newer. They were 2002. So those big companies that you've heard of have either stopped writing in Florida or they've gone to newer construction only.
So with lack of new construction around, right? It's taking a long time. What do buyers buy? Or really, as
Buy
a
anything.
seller, you probably need to update your house for it to sell, because without insurance, you can't sell to most.
But even insurance, I mean, even if you update an older home, it's still not going to qualify based on the 2002 or the
With a 10-year roof,
yeah,
right?
With a 10-year roof.
Okay,
I was
so-
working on one a couple weeks ago for a friend moving back from out of state. It was a house built in 1963 with a new roof, but it had galvanized plumbing, some cloth wiring, and a German Shepherd. 2 years ago, I could have written that with Nationwide.
Right.
No full point, nothing. Would have taken me 5 minutes. We'd be done.
Can you
No.
still write? Were you able to write that with, like, say, Citizens, or not at all?
I don't do Citizens,
Okay.
so I'm not
You can't, right?
fully sure what their rules are.
Mhm.
I was able to do it, but I had to send almost a spreadsheet of, okay, you can keep your dog, but you have to get a new water heater before closing. Or, okay, because there was a trampoline too. You can keep your trampoline, but you have to get rid of your dog. You can replace your water heater after closing, or you have to get rid of your dog and your trampoline, and your kids are going to hate you, but you can keep your water heater and get your plumbing replaced after. I mean, it was a whole chart.
Okay.
So
But you were-
basically, everybody's got to get over their love of homes with character
Sure.
and go new construction, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Or pay out the wazoo and get rid of something that they love.
Or get rid of something.
I mean, the
They ended
trampoline
up
would be an easy
picking-
choice. For
Right,
me.
exactly.
Like, get rid of the trampoline.
Yeah.
They ended up picking a different house though on that one.
They were like, there's too
We're
many
not willing to
things.
give up our dog or our trampoline.
So this legislation that went through, that were some parts of it were accepted, and we're just waiting for the finalization. Tell us what came out of that.
So the one biggest thing I think that will be helpful in the near future is the roof deductible option. So they did pass that. So we can now offer a higher roof deductible for a lower premium.
Okay.
So that should come out soon. Some companies are already doing
I
it,
saw that. Mhm.
but more will follow. They just have to get it approved and get the rate for it and things like that. Interesting on that though, that roof deductible will only apply to like a windstorm in March or a hailstorm. It will not apply during a hurricane, a total loss, or like a fire. So it's just a wind.
Okay. The one
roof
one
deductible.
problem that has risen at that. Oh, you had that
Right.
windstorm 5 years ago, and I can replace that roof for free using your
Right.
insurance. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
So
it's
if
getting
you
rid of
have
that.
roof damage during the summer, during a hurricane, your regular
Okay.
deductible will apply.
Okay. So basically, just saying, if you want to get it replaced, you have to pay way more.
Right.
Yep. Because of that
Yep.
windstorm in March or whenever.
Yeah.
Okay.
The other thing that passed, and I'm not sure how this will work, it almost makes me nervous,
Okay.
is they're not supposed to be able to non-renew or deny coverage or refuse coverage on homes with roofs less than 15 years old.
Okay.
I'm worried that the response to that will be, like we've already seen, okay, fine, we won't write homes built before 2010.
Yeah.
So that one will take a little bit longer to fully get passed and processed and that type of thing. So it'll be
There's
interesting to see
Too
if that,
many things that the insurance companies can come
Oh.
up with to still affect
Yeah.
that same reason. Yeah. Okay.
and I've noticed with my clients, you know, I have clients on that non-renewal list because the roof is 16 years old and people are going, oh, hey, you know, this just passed. Does that mean my non-renewal is lifted? And no, not yet. It's not fully through the whole process. And I don't know what impact that's going to bring just yet,
Okay.
but it did pass. So we'll see what happens.
Okay.
The other interesting thing I thought was they are offering insurance companies this like $2 billion. It's kind of referred to like a bailout type of fund. So the insurance company can pull money from this fund in lieu of buying reinsurance, which is a whole other conversation
Yes,
and
right.
topic. But reinsurance is very expensive. So in lieu of buying this expensive reinsurance, they can pull from this this other pot of money.
And so this is kind of a win for the homeowners.
If
If
they agree to give a 5% rate reduction by June 30th.
Okay, which is
So
right around the
insurance
corner.
company says, okay, great. I want to pull money from this separate fund. I'm agreeing to give all of our policyholders a 5% decrease by June. They have to agree to it by June 30th.
Okay.
So far, I've not seen any carrier sign up for that. I've actually seen more articles about how insurance companies were successful in buying reinsurance at an okay rate.
Okay. So as long as they're buying at an okay rate, why sign up for this and lose 5% with all of your insurance?
Right. And in the scope
properties.
of things, I know one of those big companies I mentioned earlier just requested a 48% rate increase, which will probably be granted. So what is 5% at that point? Like if your rate's going up 48%,
What's 5%?
what's 5%?
Right.
What's 43%? So I don't know how that will be helpful. The idea is great, but I don't know how that one will be helpful. So those were the three that I thought were of most interest to talk about. I have some things that didn't pass.
Okay, let's talk about that.
So they proposed not being able to non-renew someone when they have an open claim.
Okay.
So if you have roof damage and it can't be repaired or replaced prior to your non-renewal date, they can still non-renew you. I thought for sure they would pass that one to say, no, if they have an open claim, you have to renew them, give them time to get it fixed. They said no to that.
Wow.
I was floored. The other thing was right now, and probably 15 years ago, it only took $5 million to start an insurance company. Today, it only takes $15 million. So me and Kristen and Rebecca and Susan and Holly, we can get together and we can borrow $15 million and we can start our own insurance company.
I'm gonna step out on this one in
Yeah.
Florida. This is all you, girl.
So I know you were mentioning this. So this is happening.
That's crazy.
So that's all you need. So they proposed that that number needed to be increased so that we're not having all these really small startup companies that are going insolvent like we've seen the last, 6 to 8 months. Some of those companies have been big too, but most of them are smaller. But they didn't pass that one.
Wow.
And I think that's interesting. And then there was a third thing that I mentioned earlier that I've already forgotten about now.
But I mean, who's going to want to borrow $15 million to start
Who's
a
gonna wanna
small
open an
insurance company in Florida?
in hurricane season, I'm like, that just sounds like a bad move.
Right.
I'll tell you off camera later who likes to do that.
Oh, okay.
People do it.
Oh my God.
And you'll see that. And
I
it's
can't
a
wait.
cycle. And we've
Let's
seen
just
this
borrow
before.
$15 million and get multifamily. That's my thought.
That's probably
New multifamily.
Yeah, apparently it needs to be new multifamily because we'd like to have
Brand new.
insurance on it.
Right.
So, well, that's all very good and interesting information.
So is this a win for homeowners?
I don't know yet.
Okay. We won't. When will we know? When it
50-50 on it.
passes and we start seeing the results from it?
Yeah, I think we'll see the roof deductible option soon. And I think that will be the first thing that will help.
Okay.
And then we'll see how the other things play out.
In your opinion, what really needs to happen?
I don't know.
Okay. Just too much.
Get your crystal ball out, Carrie.
Too much. Too hard.
It's just a lot at one time. I've been doing this for 24 years and there are too many issues at one time. Like
Yes.
we were used to dealing with sinkholes. We were used to dealing with hurricanes. We were used to dealing with, this one epidemic at a time. But right now we've got the water issue and we have the roofing issues and, litigation. The money is just not there right now. And, but I have full faith that it will come back and it's a cycle and it's a phase. And 3 years from now, it will be a completely different story. And we'll be talking about new sets of issues.
All right. Well, thank you for this information. I mean, we just wanted an update of what happened and we should know in the next few weeks or week or so, right? There was
Yeah,
the
I would think
final.
so.
Yeah. I would think so too.
Yeah, and I'll let you know as soon as I see talk about that. And to touch on hurricane season really quick,
please.
And to remind all of realtors and buyers and loan officers, it is hurricane season. I am always telling everyone, don't wait till the last minute all year long, but it's hurricane season. Don't wait till the last minute.
Really, don't wait till the last minute.
On Thursday last week, they started closing down for disturbance number 1. That wasn't even going to come near us, but they shut the whole state down.
Yeah. For binding new insurance. Right. So if you're waiting for last minute, then you can't close because there's no insurance. They have shut it down. What did you hear, Rebecca?
I heard it's hurricane season. Start planning your hurricane parties now. I'm just joking.
We can do that too. Yeah.
Yes.
We already know how to prepare for that. We just don't know how to prepare for everything else.
Well, not everybody is from Florida
that's
watching, so they might not know how to prepare like the Floridians do for hurricane season. But no, good information. And I actually wrote Carrie this morning because I had somebody giving me that reason for needing to delay closing because they couldn't get insurance. And
that was already because of last week's disturbance.
Yeah. So I'll tell you which file you'll die as soon as I tell you.
It should be good today.
Good. I'm gonna write
yeah. So how far away do these have to be, or have they changed it this year because they're just tougher? Isn't there like a certain mileage range, or it doesn't matter if there's a disturbance?
Nope. Now they're just
Yeah, I remember. That's what I'm asking. There's no more box.
We're out of the box.
It could be in the Pacific, and they're like, nope, we're shutting it down in Florida.
Basically.
No, I mean, if the wind starts to blow off the coast of Africa, they're like, yeah.
This is why I had to write her, because I was like, did I miss the first hurricane? Dang
Nope, just a disturbance.
Nope, just a disturbance. The waves were a little too high on this one region because the Megalodon surfaced and. Anyway.
I don't think it was even named until after it went across Florida.
So we're good now. So you can get your insurance now, but the second a disturbance comes out, you better have that. So yeah, all you agents out there, tell your buyers, bind your insurance immediately. And all you buyers, hopefully your agents are telling you. If you're with Rabell agents, we better be telling you. I know we are. We're going to tell you.
I'm sure they are.
Susan's going to tell you. Jackie's going to tell you. They're both on here. They know what's going on. All right. Well, we appreciate you, Carrie. Thank you for coming on today. We missed you last week, but you were great to join us, grace us with your presence today.
Anytime.
All right. Well, we will see you soon. Thank you for all your knowledge.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye. All right. If you have any questions about your homeowner's insurance, whether you've been dropped or threatened to be dropped or want new homeowner's insurance, you can call Carrie Ward at 352-338-0552 or email her at kward@darshakowinsurance.com. We'll have this on our website, and she joins us quite often. So if you ever need her information, just call us. We'll go ahead.
All right.
Yep, your turn.
Yep, there we go. All right, so if you have a property that you do not want to sell and you would like to keep it and have it rented out, but you don't want the headache of managing people, tenants, or all the issues that go along with owning a property, you can contact K&R Property Management. We would be delighted to take care of that property for you. You can call us at 352-213-6410.
All right. And if you're looking to get into real estate or join a fantastic team or just change where you are, or you're moving into Gainesville and want to find all of these great reasons, 352-559-8820. Join at buysellrebell.com. We'll answer any of your questions about real estate.
And if you can't get enough of Kristen and Rebecca and the entire Rabell Realty Group crew, you will find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Google My Business.
Nice. Like and share. Subscribe to our page on YouTube. We love having you there. Thank you. Also, if you didn't know we have a blog, well, we do, and you can find it at buysellrebell.com/blog, talking about all things real estate and our local markets.
And we'd like to thank the Fiesta Media for putting on this podcast and all of our others. If you're considering a podcast of your own, you can reach them at 352-327-5089.
All right. And we hope you join us next Monday at 2 for the Rabell Realty Podcast. You can find us at rebellpodcast.com on YouTube or Facebook Live. I had to think about that for a second.
I know. I've had to think hard today, too. I'm like, I need more coffee or
but
something.
We will see you next week. We'll talk about June numbers and more information about the market. Thanks for joining us today. See you next week.